so caught up in that feeling, thinking you can control somebody's perception of you. How crazy and how narcissistic is that, where you think that you got control over how another person perceives you? They're gonna see what they want to see.
So you might as well do what you want to do.
What thoughts have been running through your mind lately? So many, to be honest. I've really just been in some kind of, I don't know. I'm sure people can relate to this, but feeling like you've lost your mind, lost yourself, if you will. And I think it happened when I tried to fall back into that almost like a sense of people pleasing, you know what I mean? And it's just something you try to break away. It's just default mechanism from how you were raised, you know what I'm saying? And a sense of like having to be responsible for everybody around you, but who then values your feelings and emotions and all that stuff, you know what I'm saying? But honestly, what's been going through my mind lately is just like running from any and everything. And you know what I'm saying? Like and it's because of the plate is too full. Like I put too much on my plate, and I think that roots in a form of an insecurity. You know what I mean? Not being enough, feeling like you have to be on top of your shit like all the time. But little did I know, I'm human. And you go through shit when you're human, but when you try to be anything more, as I say all the time, as you try to be anything more than human, that's where we fuck up. And it's just like a lot of times it just feels like that duck, you know what I'm saying, on the pond, like everything looks smooth on top, but underneath it's just them legs are like kicking. And you just go through things mentally, and of course some people would love to like be there for you, be it for their own ego or maybe even for you, whatever the intention is, only that person knows. But these are things that you have to master yourself. You have to master your mind. That's the only way to get out of this thing, is to master your mind. So of course therapy helps. I mean, an unbiased person who has nothing to gain, from opening up to them. So I recommend that anybody watching this, that they do take therapy very seriously and try to go there, you know what I'm saying, just to share whatever you got on your mind. And you know what I'm saying, it's just a reflection of your mind, wherever your mind is at that point in time, and that's how they work, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to go in there thinking they're going to judge you. It's not about judging. They get paid to not judge people. I mean, which is really how we should carry ourselves in conversation anyway. But it just stems from again, the wounded inner child, and how things were. And I realized that it came from, again, not those emotions, like having emotionally unavailable parents, you know what I'm saying? And because they were raised a certain way and pass it on. They work for them, obviously they feel like it got them to where they needed to go, but they also have, their issues as well. I'm sure other parents can relate to that were born around that time, but it has a profound effect on kids when we're not able to validate how they feel, you know what I'm saying? And it catches up to you later in life. I mean, we'll fall into alcohol, porn, drugs, sex, you name it, whatever your vice is, church, but whatever your vice is, you'll end up falling into that, trying to feel whole. And you're already whole. Your ego is a motherfucker, man. I don't care how many fucking books you read, how many YouTube things you watch like I do. your ego will find a way to like sneak in there and have you feeling you're not enough, or you feel like you need to be more of something. You know what I'm saying? And there's people praying that they have what you have. You know what I'm saying? There's people wishing they were in your position. Like, that's the crazy part about life. Like, we all feel some type of way down, and somebody is wanting what we have. Like, gratitude, it has to be there. And but you got to manage it. You have to manage, especially like I say, for me as a man, learning to manage those thoughts. And that's one thing I can pride myself on, is recognizing when these things come up and recognizing that it's not me. I'm not my thoughts. You know, it's merely just the ego having a moment, which is, ego is nothing but the wounded inner child. I mean, in my case, it's nothing but the wounded inner child, that little person needing to be held. And you know what I'm saying? Like, you owe yourself more than anybody else does. I don't care if you feel like people have wronged you or hurt you. How were they able to do it? You know what I'm saying? Like, you can only be the victim once. So after that, I'm volunteering to allow these things to happen. And be it fear, whatever. Fear is nothing but it's an imagination. It's an improper use of your imagination, you know. And I've been improperly using my imagination at times, but that makes me human. That's one thing I can say about it. It makes me human. What else is running through the mind? The porn withdrawals, yeah. So I relapsed like a month ago, right? So, I mean, for those that are familiar with, like, you know what I'm saying, porn addiction or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Really any type of addiction. Addiction is not doing something because you want to. It's really doing something because you really, like, you don't even feel like doing it, but it's like a part of your brain is just so wired to go back to get this source, this hit of dopamine, such a strong hit of dopamine that you get when you watch porn and all that stuff. So with the withdrawals comes irritability. You know, the ability you had once before where you could like manage all your, like I say, emotional intelligence. It comes at it comes with a lot of testiness, if you will, just from dealing with different personalities. And the way to fix anything, anytime you find yourself in life, these are secrets. It ain't really a secret, I'm telling the shit, but these are tips that have worked for me, and I've seen them work for other people. Whenever things feel like it's too much, too chaotic, unplug. So like, no cell phone or nothing. If you got a beach near you, go to the beach, sit out there, just sit for a day without technology, where you feel like you have to respond to people. And you know what I'm saying? Like, in order to, like I said, in order to feel whole, you're not responsible for anybody. You owe no one anything. They're not entitled to anything. You're not entitled to anything. So if indeed sometimes you find yourself like me, where you get overwhelmed or feeling overwhelmed, unplug. Just, you know what I'm saying, drift away. And for those that value you and they understand, you know what I'm saying, you doing what's best for you and nothing you do is about them, they'll understand. But for those that feel like, you know what I'm saying, like the world revolves around them, they'll feel some type of way. And that's why you have boundaries anyway, to protect you from people that do shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But those of you that really fuck with you, they'll understand and they'll learn to, again, trust the relationships that you're in. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you really are around people that you don't feel like you can, you know what I'm saying, trust a relationship with, then why even engage with people? You know what I'm saying? Don't be afraid. Do not fear. We have this tendency of fearing, like, being by ourselves. You know what I'm saying? I know for sure I went through that shit a while. It kept me in a tumultuous relationship that I had no business being in. But there were lessons, of course, given through that. And so those things go through the mind, and I just, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I'm able to, one, I took my black ass to therapy, and I decided that I was going to make change. I was going to make change in my life, and I wasn't going to wait around for anybody. And that's the thing. I think for a long time, my fears of doing something by myself, being the first one to step out and do it, kept me from kind of doing a lot of things. You know, I didn't want to do the the podcast was supposed to be done long before 2016, but I had a fear of what would be said about me, and why should I care what people think about me? You know what I'm saying? Like, they're gonna talk anyway, no matter what I do. But you know, again, the wounded inner child has a way of just getting to you and having you like so caught up in that feeling, thinking you can control somebody's perception of you. How crazy and how narcissistic is that, where you think that you got control over how another person perceives you? They're gonna see what they want to see, so you might as well do what you want to do. And but those are life lessons. And again, unplugging is the you know, that's the way to move. That's how we will that way I see is get better at what we're doing. But yeah, I mean, a lot of those things are going through the mind. And just getting back to working, like to put the focus on me, you know what I'm saying? Like getting back to reading books, getting back to working on, you know what I'm saying, different projects that are gonna help facilitate me going forward. That's where I am. And I know for sure I've made it seem that I've been readily available to a lot of people in my life. And it's nothing personal, but again, I got to reshift the focus back on me, and so that I can help, you know what I'm saying, my people. You know what I mean? Like, I can't help anybody until I help myself. So that's the plan, to stay with that, stick with that, and continue to strengthen my mind. You know, I think I've done a pretty healthy job about doing so, and just going to continue to do that. So those are the thoughts that have been running through my mind lately. What would you consider to be your biggest weakness? Yes, my biggest weakness, of course, is without a doubt, it's my family. You know, family I was born into, that is, and it's a lot. It's trying to recover a lot of things trying to fix things in the past. A lot of trauma that we've all put upon each other. Again, just seeing ourselves as, not just as family, but just people. Because, you know, a lot of times, like, your family takes you for granted the most because you're family. Like, you wouldn't treat somebody that's not your family a certain way, but because they're family, you say certain shit, you know what I'm saying? And we gotta reverse it. We gotta treat our people, our family, a lot better than we treat ourselves. For those of us who still have good communication with our family, if you guys can able to like sit down and be like, you know what, I'm gonna work on being a better person to you. I'm going to learn how to value you. I'm going to learn how to love you. But in a lot of cases, a lot of people sit in a lot of pain. So when you sit in pain, you tend to project pain out. And you don't know who to trust. It's like if you're just raised in it all the time and you've never really had your thoughts valued, it's hard, man. It's really hard. Like, if you feel like you're not valued by these people that are around you, you're not going to value them, and then it just becomes like, it's like tit for tat. And but like I say, for me, a long time I kept trying to chase something within the family. And what's crazy is that I don't think it was ever there, to be honest. And that's no shade on them or me, but it's like illusion. You know what I'm saying? Like when you have this idea of people, and when they don't measure to your expectations, then you grow a sense of like resentment or disappointment and wondering why people don't do the things that you want them to do. But at the same time, you probably not doing the things they want you to do. And so what ends up happening is that when families don't communicate, you're left to create these thoughts in your mind without talking it out. And I wish, you know what I'm saying, a lot of families, people in general, would be able to talk things out without allowing the ego to take shape. You know, when you get upset, man, nobody wants to hear shit. And when certain things happen, you deem as unforgivable, you cut off. And that's that's family, that's people, really. And I just know that, you know, like answering this question, like that being the biggest weakness. Because, you know, again, I thought I was Superman. You know, I thought it was my job to go off, become a form of success, and take care of everybody's issues. But, I mean, you know, that whole thing about Superman, nobody saves him. And who am I to say that I'm fucking Superman? Who the fuck are you, nigga? Narcissist? You know what I'm saying? Like, these thoughts that come in your head, who told you that you had to? Even granted, you might have felt that way. I think that was a choice that I made. I chose to become a superhero. So, being a superhero, you got to take what comes with it. And sometimes it feels like no one gives a fuck. Honestly, it just feels like that no one gives a fuck, and like your work it means nothing. But that's when you're rooting it in conditional love. But when you're rooted in like, you know, like unconditional love, you do it just for the sake of doing it, and you don't worry about getting anything in return. And you gotta let some people go through their struggles, because we all go through our struggles. I'm dealing with mental health shit right now, as I'm sure other family members are. I mean, think about it. If I'm doing this at my age, I can't imagine what my parents and their siblings and so forth, like if they didn't want to address their situation, imagine what they're battling. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what you can do is just work on yourself, man. And that's really what I'm trying to pour back into. It's just working on oneself. And I'll get there. Just continuously trying to work towards being a better man, better father, better person all around. And one day at a time. And understanding that one punch at a time, one step at a time, one round at a time, at like from Creed. And just understanding that you're doing the best you can with the knowledge you have. So the more knowledge you get, the better you can be. So read, listen to people when they talk, listen to people's experiences, learn from their experiences, and try to incorporate that into your life. Be able to filter too. Don't take because this person is revered as something, as everything they say is truthful. Just take knowledge, kind of filter it. Everything, even what I share, you know what I'm saying? Like, filter that shit. Research it for yourself. You may not agree with a lot of stances I take on things, but that's why it's my stance, not yours, motherfucker. And just keep that in mind. You know what I'm saying? You're doing the best you can. But definitely the biggest weakness, and I'm learning to let go of a certain aspect with that. It gets rough at times because it's something that you've always desired, and the more you have desires, the more disappointment and pain you have. The only reason you hurt, a lot of times from an emotional standpoint, is because of desire. When you desire something, there comes the pain when you don't get it. You have to be able to accept things, life as it is, not as you want it to be. And it just takes time. It takes time, and I'm sure that I'll get through it. Anybody going through something similar in their own life with their own family, or whatever you got going on, I'm sure you'll get through with it too. But hands down, my biggest weakness is definitely my family. And all in all, I love y'all. All right. What was your reason for cheating the times that you did, if any? Let's call it what it is. Cowardly, beta mindset, inability to communicate, inability to trust, insecurities, you name it. With those reasons for why I did what I did. And especially because it didn't have to be. I could have easily, well, I wouldn't say easily, but I could. Looking back at things, I should have communicated that I didn't want to be in this relationship with you. Having these strong feelings, and I don't feel like I am mature enough. I wasn't mature enough, really. I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't educated on relationships, man. I had all unhealthy. I had an unhealthy relationship practice, hands down, man. Like it just, I didn't really know. I thought about me, in a sense. It was so crazy. How can you be so much of a people pleaser and you're still about yourself? But that's the whole thing. It was creating a character that to dress up so that it was like a double life, if you will, type thing. Masquerade like you got this shit going on. Meanwhile, you got this shit going on over here. And is it something I'm not really, like I said, it's nothing to be proud of. You know, I don't regret the times done, because I wouldn't be where I am today without it. You remove one thing, you remove everything. It changes everything. You know what I'm saying? And it was like I said, man, it was rooted a lot in my own insecurities as a man, and not knowing how to carry yourself as a man, if you will. It was it took a lot of work, and looking back at yourself and thinking you're somebody, you know what I'm saying, that you're not, and you learn from it. What can I say? You learn from it. Well, you should. Obviously, you can't. Well, you can learn from it, and it should learn from it. I saw myself and back into a corner. And when you have a scarcity mindset, you do things in a scared way. Even that, you know what I'm saying? Like if you're gonna be in a relationship with somebody and you decide to make that choice of doing something, you don't feel like, you're insecure about something within the relationship. You know what I mean? Like again, if you commit to that, but I mean, you know, that's just, I'm looking back, and again, I'm speaking on past me. You know what I mean? I haven't been in a relationship, maybe 3 years now, something like that. Committed one, that is. But looking back at the young me, high school, the Air Force, and then the Miami days as working as a contractor in Homestead and all that stuff. Like, I look back at those times, and was I? No, yeah, okay, I was. I was in a relationship when I was there, but in living in those times, I was living in trauma, to be honest. Like I really was living on edge. I was not happy with myself. I was like beat down. Like life hit me in a certain way when I moved to North Carolina, and that's where the porn addiction started. So I'm gonna say that was an influence too, to be a part, like to looking at porn and all that shit had an influence on the way I saw women as well, interchangeable, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Objectifying. I mean, I still objectify women, but, and I'm just saying like in the sense of like a relationship. And it was, it just was not healthy for me. It just wasn't healthy for it. I don't think it's healthy for anybody. And I made decisions like I was a loose cannon, to be honest. I felt like the world didn't give a fuck about me, so I didn't give a fuck about the world, and I was just gonna do whatever and and suffer the consequences later, you know what I mean? In some cases, a lot of cases, I just was young and I didn't know any better, and I saw what older cousins, you know what I'm saying, family members would do with women and shit like that. So I was like, fuck it. Well, I guess this is the way that men are supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? But we learned. Everybody. My cousins then, I mean, if they learn, great, you know what I'm saying? Hopefully they have learned from the situation. But we all just learning, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I don't sit here in front like women doesn't do shit either. And I done fucked around with a few that were, you know, married, girl that had boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, we're just very, I don't know what you want to call intrigued by one another and shit like that. Like, I think it was just the act of doing something that, you know, is probably not good for you. Well, what can I say? I'm a fucking rebel, in a sense, you know what I mean? And I will not make any apologies for that aspect. That part is still gonna be within me, you know what I'm saying? Like, gotta live on that. You wanna be able to look back at your life and say that you lived and did some things that you're not really proud of and all of that. But I'm just thinking about the reasons that I can think of right now, looking back at myself, of why I did what I did. And that's really what I come up with. Insecurities, you know what I mean? Trying to be something that you're not. Imposter syndrome, if you will. Play a player, you know, all that dumb shit, you know what I mean? Trying to be revered for something. Ego. There we go. Ego. Sum it all up. One word, ego. It always goes back to the fucking ego. And, you know, we're young. When you're young, you explore, you experiment. And did I know better? In a sense, yes, but at the same time, there's a lot of stuff I did not know, like impact and all that stuff, because I was so rooted in doing. I was living in my own pain. I was projecting my pain out. Is really what it was. Like, no one really. I felt like no one really valued my feelings. You know, my feelings weren't validated. My needs and shit were not. In some ways, like emotional needs. Coming up were not necessarily validated, and I'm sure a lot of people in the world, my family, felt that way too. You know what I'm saying? We did not validate each other's emotional needs, so we did what the fuck, whatever. We just wild the fuck out, if you will. And you know, it makes for some good stories. Clearly like this. But you also, you know what I'm saying, also you learn from it. And I can say I've learned a lot in that situation, trying to be something I'm not, to go after to stalk, to go after my prey, whatever you want to call it. And but like I say, they make for good stories. I mean, anybody watching, of course, they can learn from, you know, your story. So it's great to share these moments with people. But anyway, that is, I think that's pretty much all I got on this particular topic.